Guidelines for basic quality test in field construction. Contents: Introduction, Quality test method, Infrastructure road projects, Building projects, Quality test of concrete. Introduction. There are various tests needed in different areas of site activities, whether it is infrastructure or building projects. Infrastructure projects like road, embankment, bridge, viaduct, tunnel, dam, etc. In the building project, common tests will be discussed in this presentation document. There are so many tests available for testing in field construction. Different tests give results for the respective testing requirements. Thus, it is not possible to conduct all the tests that involve cost and time. Concrete testing is the most common method used to confirm that the concrete supplied to the project is acceptable to the client. The contract documents must therefore clearly identify the concrete test methods and the acceptance criteria that will be used to evaluate the concrete supplied to the project. The most important test for quality check of concrete is to detect the variation of concrete quality with the given specification and mix design during concrete mixing and placement. It will ensure that the right quality of concrete is being placed at site and with checks for concrete placement in place. The quality of constructed concrete members will be as desired. Quality test requirements. Number 1, infrastructure or road projects. Number 2, the building projects. For infrastructure and road projects. Number 1, soil analysis. If you need to backfill a part of your road project, then you will be requiring a barrow area. There you will take at least 5 samples in different locations in order to determine the suitability of the soil. The tests that will be done are Proctor test, California bearing ratio or CBR, Atterberg limits, organic matter, etc., and those required in the contract. Number 2, field density test or in situ density test. In order to determine the result of the compaction, the test shall be conducted further in the laboratory to get the result, where they would make further weighing the soil sample, drying it in the oven, and last calculation and then the result. A road project, rigid pavement, has different types of layers. The first layer is the base, second is the base course, and the last layer is the concrete pavement. Each layer, excluding the concrete pavement, has to be compacted to the required degree of compaction. The sub-base is usually to be compacted to 95% of maximum dry density, and the base course is 100% of maximum dry density, but please refer always on the contract specifications. Number 3, flexure strength. Flexural strength, also known as modulus of rupture, bend strength, or fracture strength. A mechanical parameter for brittle of material is defined as a material's ability to resist deformation under load. The strength requirement varies depending on the specification, but here or on some site, the specification requires 4.6 megapascal for 20 inches strength. For building or housing projects. Number 1, soil investigation. The purpose of the soil investigation is to determine the surface of the subsurface conditions of the project and the physical or chemical and mechanical properties of the craft in order to provide the structural engineer with sufficient information for the design of the most safest and practical design of foundations. Number 2. Bleed load test. Plate load test is a field test to determine the ultimate bearing capacity of soil and the probable settlement under a given loading. The test essentially consists in loading a rigid plate, usually of steel, at the foundation level and determining the settlement corresponding to its load increment. This test is sometimes taken on below slab on grade or on the foundation, but it would depend on your specification. This is in order to just verify the bearing capacity of soil, which have been taken from the soil investigation. Number 3. The soil analysis or sampling. This test shall be done prior to compaction test in order to determine the suitability of the soil to be used for backfilling. The sampling test includes Atterberg limits, sieve analysis, organic matter. Number 4. A Proctor test. The Proctor test results shall be used in the calculation of the degree of compaction or in situ test report. That is why it is necessary to do first the Proctor test prior to compaction test. Here is the meaning of Proctor test. It is a laboratory procedure of experimentally determining the optimal moisture content at which a given soil type will become most dense and achieve its maximum dry density. Number 5. Compaction test or in situ density test. Compaction test shall be done at the rate given to this article, the frequency of various tests. Compaction test is a soil quality test used to assess the level of compaction, which can occur in the soil on a construction site. Compaction test for building projects shall be done below footings, tie beams, and slab on grade. But note, if granular backfill engineered fill is required below slab on grade, you shall then compact 800% of maximum dry density. Number 6. The compression test of concrete. Most commonly, the specification says 3 cubes will be taken for 7 days, compressive strength test, and another 3 cubes to be tested for 28 days to get the specified strength of concrete. Number 7. Durability test. The durability test commonly consists of water penetration and water absorption test. The requirement for water penetration is not more than 10 mm and the water absorption most commonly required not more than 20%. A durable concrete is one that performs satisfactorily in the working environment during its anticipated exposure conditions during service. The materials and mixed proportion specified and used should be such as to maintain its integrity and, if applicable, to protect embedded metal from corrosion. Number 8. Mechanical and chemical test. This test is for reinforcing bar that you are going to use on your project site, which includes bending, tension test, and etc. Before you use the steel reinforcement, as a quality engineer or an inspector, you shall send samples of 3 for its diameter to an approved independent material testing laboratory. Test for concrete masonry units or CMU. Concrete can be converted into precast masonry units such as hollow and solid normal and lightweight concrete blocks of suitable size to be used for load and non-load bearing yachts, units for walling. This test is probably stipulated in the project specifications. The tests include dimension test and compression test. 3 samples of each size of concrete masonry units have to be sent to approved independent material testing laboratory. Number non-destructive test. This test shall be done on steel structure and is usually done in the fabrication plant and occasionally during erection. The non-destructive test consists of magnetic particle inspection, ultrasonic inspection, and water penetrant inspection. The non-destructive test shall be performed by an independent laboratory approved by the engineer or the consultant. The non-destructive test should be done if it is stipulated in the contract. If not, the test shall be done internally as per quality standard procedure of manufacturing company. Number 11. Hydro or pressure test. A hydrostatic test or hydro test is a way in which pressure vessels such as pipelines, plumbing, gas cylinders, boilers, and fuel tanks can be tested for strength and leaks. The test involves filling the vessel or pipe system with a liquid, usually water, which may be dyed to aid in visual leak detection, and pressurization of the vessel to the specified test pressure. Check the leakage of pipes, the stability of pipeline, specified pressure of pipes. Basic concrete quality test practice at project site. Slump test before leaving batching plant and on arrival on site. This is to determine the workability of concrete in terms of slump test. After batching the concrete, a sample of fresh concrete shall be taken to test for slump test and the samples for compressive strength to be taken too. This is to make sure that the batch concrete is complying with the mix design before it's released from the batching plant. The concrete slump test is an empirical test that measures workability of fresh concrete. The test measures consistency of concrete in that specific batch. It is performed to check consistency of freshly made concrete. Number 2. Temperature of fresh concrete upon arrival on site. This test method provides a means for measuring the temperature of freshly mixed concrete. The measured temperature represents the temperature at the time of testing and may not be an indication on the temperature of the freshly mixed concrete at a later time. It may be used to verify conformance to a specified requirement for temperature of concrete. Number 3. Making and curing concrete test specimen. This practice provides standardized requirements for preparation of materials, mixing concrete, and making and curing concrete test specimens under laboratory conditions. This practice covers procedures for making and curing test specimens of concrete in the laboratory under accurate control of materials and test conditions using concrete that can be consolidated by running or by vibration. Number 4. Compressive strength test of concrete. Compressive strength test is the capacity of a material or structure to withstand loads tending to reduce size, as opposed to tensile strength, which withstands loads tending to elongate. This test method covers determination of compressive strength of cylindrical concrete specimens such as molded cylinders and drained cores. It is limited to concrete having a density in excess of 800 kg per cubic meter or 50 pounds per cubic foot. Thanks for watching.